Hi guys, welcome to the Silver Report. This is Saturday, January 14th, 2017. Silver, the markets are closed, so the silver is currently at 1691. Gold is at 1197 as of this time. And let's get into the economic news, the world economic news, and Janet Yellen from the Federal Reserve is making some announcements. That she sees some immediate economic growth out of Trump's plans, and that's what middle America voted for. They voted for Donald Trump because of the promise to fix the economy. And right now, the thing they're not looking at, there is a large belief that there is a recovered economy, that there's a strong Obama economy right now. The GDP in America has not really grown too much, but the standard of living for the average American has dropped significantly. These people are surviving off of welfare checks, a dramatic increase. There's been an additional 18 million Americans that applied for food stamps compared to the previous figures. So these people are surviving off of welfare checks from these wealthier states that believe in this recovering economy, when the average worker, we spoke the other day about most of these jobs that were added were retail, lower paying jobs, while there's been dramatic hits to the manufacturing and industry, the energy industry, massive hits to the middle class Americans. There's a growing disparity between the rich and the poor. Both of these numbers are being added to. That leaves people without savings. They're reporting that most Americans do not have in savings more than $1,000. Don't even have $1,000 in savings. So America is hurting. It's reeling, but somehow the country is producing the same amount of income. It's been taken away from the people. This is highly due to the amount of cracks in the economy that are coming through, just simply because of the vast printing of money. More money has been printed during the Obama administration than ever before in a single 8-year period. And we're looking at massive inflation coming. And the thing that bothers me is there's a belief that the economy is recovering. There's a belief that the economy is doing strong, some sort of Obama boom. And it's just simply not true. They say that they have some hope for some economic policies coming through, reducing the business regulations, tax reform. These are all great for the economy, but they say they're worried about that. They're saying for years they've been hoping for things to be done for the middle Americans, but it might be too much too fast, so they might need to make more interest rate hikes throughout 2017. So they don't agree with real recovery, too much positive things to be done for the average American at once, and they can't deal with the inflation. Their policy previously was to print money, and it doesn't line up with what it takes to actually have the American people making money and spending money. So this has been a false recovery, and an actual recovery will expose it, and they're worried about that. So they are concerned about there being dramatic economic crisis is coming, a stock market crash is coming, because the amount of money that has been printed, they're expecting to see hyperinflation. The price of milk, gas, food, grain, rice, all rising too much for them to be able to handle. So they need to slow it down, to hamper it by increasing the interest rates. Not because it's a strong economy, but because of the amount of money that has been printed. So that if the economy actually goes through an actual recovery or boom, it is a danger to their system and what they have already manufactured as a false recovery. The problem is most of the people believe there's some sort of recovery. And this is largely, as we've seen during the election, the power of the mainstream media and their ability to manipulate the people, the masses of people, to believe in something. They told you Hillary was going to win by a landslide. She wasn't even close. There's 300 electoral votes in the Electoral College. She wasn't even close. She didn't even scratch the surface. And this was shown as she had her rallies, nobody was showing up. Nobody was there. No one was really believing that Hillary Clinton was going to become the president, but they used their mainstream media propaganda streams where they're telling all the people, everyone's excited, everyone's lining up, everyone's excited, President Hillary Clinton, the next president. We have all of Hollywood lining up, trying to tell you this is who it's going to be, and it just shows you that the real story is not being told. And they think we're not intelligent, we can't figure it out, and for the most part, people don't care. For the most part, people don't care. That the average American, they've taken a dramatic decrease in their standard of living. But as long as they have their cable TV, as long as they have their NFL football, they don't really care. They don't really care. It's kind of like the fall of the Roman Empire, how they built the Colosseum, and they wanted to distract the people and to have them busy. And while they're still destroying the economy, pillaging the economy, we see our nation's debt at an all-time high, more than it's ever been in the history of the United States of America. It's at dangerous levels. It's above GDP. It is impossible to pay it off. And they call it a recovery. The people believe it's a recovery. It's like you're bleeding and wounded, and you go to the doctor and they say it should just be just fine. You're actually doing fine. Nothing to see here, folks. Just look the other way. And they're not informing the people, which is why you need to take positive steps and examine these numbers. We see manufacturing jobs are bleeding from this country. There's massive steps to be able to retake some high-paying jobs for Americans. But is it enough? Is it enough? They're only stopping the companies that are trying to move now. These companies have been manufacturing in China, in India, in Mexico for decades, ever since they passed NAFTA, and ever since they had free trade with China. It was so that these business interests can move over and use slave labor to be able to produce these goods. And they're talking about raising the minimum wage, and they think somehow this is going to benefit the economy. No, it'll just make a gallon of milk cost $10. We need real recovery. That's just a way for them to be able to ease the effects of the amount of money that they printed. It's backdoor robbery, if you will. When you print that much money, it makes everyone's slice of the pie a little bit smaller. So all the money you had in savings when they went and they took these actions was now depleted. It was worth less because of the amount that was printed. And they need to do something with this. They're trying to hide the fact from the American people, and they're worried about this inflation setting and this hyperinflation, which will automatically drive the price of gold and the price of silver higher. They're trying to suppress it, but they can't. It continuously has been rising. We saw throughout 2016. We saw it drop down. It went to its low, and all of a sudden it's rebounding. But all this to say, before the crisis that came from our debt being too high, it came from outstanding mortgages being around 14%. They're again back at 14%. They say we have a housing recovery. The mortgage that are overdue mortgages are back at 14% again. And more than that, we have student college loan, student debt, personal debt, credit card debt. America has been living on borrowed money and has not been in this great boom or recovery. People are living off of whoever still has a job in some of these better economies like California, New York City. They're living off of the wages that go from taxes to be able to allow their family to eat. And it's a flawed system, a failing system. We see that they stripped away Social Security in order to implement Obamacare. These people are surviving. They're not thriving where they once were. There used to be manufacturing in this country. There used to be men back in the 70s making $25 an hour just working in coal mines. $25 an hour working in these manufacturing jobs. There was prosperity in this country. It was the richest nation in the world. And we see that it's been stripped away by business interests. They're falsifying recoveries. They're using propaganda streams to make people believe that it's okay, and it's not. It's not. And they're even admitting it. We cannot maintain this. We cannot maintain real steps that can benefit the economy, because it will all come crumbling down. It will all come crumbling down. And when the Federal Reserve is already calling out in advance that we are going to see a stock market crash, a crisis similar to 2008, you need to take positive steps right now and invest while it's low. Because when it gets to the point where things are crashing down, it wasn't until 2011 silver went to $49 an ounce. We could see it go higher this time. There was a big rush to set, in all countries when their currency begins to fail, a big rush to place their money in any kind of tangible asset. Like I said, in Russia, they were even buying bricks and wood, anything to be able to retain the value of their currency. And typically gold and silver have been a safe haven to be able to preserve wealth during times of economic uncertainty. And we already have it admitted from the people who control our monetary system that we are going to be entering a period of economic uncertainty, that inflation is going to hit, which is why the best safe haven to be able to invest in now, while it's so low, before the masses catch on and there is this panic, there is this scare, is going to be gold and silver. All right, thank you guys for joining me today for the Silver Report. Again, it was Saturday, January 14th, 2017. If you like the content, please be sure to subscribe, like the videos, share them, leave a comment in the comment box, any suggestions, any more content you want to see, and what you're doing right now, any ideas that you're doing to be able to preserve wealth, new coins, anything like that. I'm interested. I want to know. But again, thank you very much for joining me. This has been the Silver Report.